Welcome back to the RevPAR Report. Today, I have James Lucas as my guest. He is the co-founder of Revivalist Hotels. Thank you so much for coming on to James. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well, Nikki. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about what we do.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so excited to have you on here. First of all, I feel like we need to describe your hotels because they're not your typical boutique hotel. So if you could kind of take off with that one for me, I would really appreciate it.
Sure. We're reasonably new in the space. We started in, I would say, we bought our first property in 2021, and the idea was that we would buy historical properties in secondary capital cities, I guess, if there's a better way of describing it. But this one was in Springfield, Illinois, our very first. It's a beautiful 8,000 square foot brick mansion. And in these instances, there's two in Springfield. We have made them into hotel apartments.
Okay.
So each apartment in the big building is three beds, two baths. They're about 2,200 square feet each. There's a carriage house on the back that's about 1,700 square feet, completely separate. But people can rent one space. They can take the whole house. You're talking about nine beds, 18 people. We're
Nice.
seeing family reunions. We're seeing wedding parties before they go to their weddings. We're seeing uh, real get-togethers, families coming from maybe feeling like Springfield is the midpoint, and then just using that property as their everything, really, because they can cook there, they can wash there, they can do everything that they would like. And
Okay.
then the intention was to make it historical inside with the modern amenities that we're also used to now. So that's the mix that we're going for is you come, you get to experience something that probably you don't get to experience. I saw it as this. I have looked at so many properties before and thought, I wonder what it's like inside there.
Mm.
And that was our goal was you get to be inside here, you get to stay inside here, you get the full antique experience, and you get to live like we do today. So that's what's really going on. We actually are so close to closing on a new property in Little Rock. It's going to be slightly different. This one will be a hotel proper, so a boutique hotel. It will be a root suites with bathrooms, each of them with their own bathroom.
Okay.
It's another incredible property, and that's what we're looking for. Secondary capital city, um, Victorian. This one is also a Queen Anne build, but we seem to be obsessed with those. And all of them have their own individual story, which is so important. You can go into one and have a completely different experience to another one. However, the quality and what you expect should be the same.
That's fantastic. Now, do you have to work with a historical society when you come into these cities and kind of revamp these houses for the hotels? Or how does
Great
that work?
question. It's a great question. So in general, what the historical societies or the historical, yeah, that's the best way to put it. I'm thinking about the departments are most concerned about are the outside of the properties.
Okay.
So yes is the answer. If you want to do work on the outside, which we don't ever want to do unless you're painting the outside.
Okay.
So one of the things that we've always been advised is you better go to your historical society and make sure your paints are reasonable for the property that you're painting.
Okay. Got it.
Um, It depends on each individual property again, but a lot of the time, if you're not changing what's visible from the outside, you have much less problem with what's going on inside. It just depends with change of use, that can be the real sticking point.
That's fantastic. And I love that you're sticking with this style of home, even down on your new property. It's kind of like you've got your brand, and like this is your brand with this Victorian style home. That's pretty amazing that you found one in the in the Little Rock area as well.
It kind of, Nikki, it kind of makes life a lot easier
Yeah.
for us, right? Because it very quickly moves from this is appropriate or this isn't appropriate for what we do. And so we it kind of gets rid of once we know what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and with what kind of property, a lot of the searching stops being difficult anymore. It's not, there's no questions over this one fits. Oh, does it fit? No, it either fits or it doesn't, and then we look at it more. in more detail if it does.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. James, what was the core vision behind launching Revitalist Hotels, and how has that vision evolved since you've scaled the brand?
Great question. I so I think, to know where we started, and I keep saying we because I have this amazing business partner, Ben Bledsoe. He and I have worked together since 2019. We met in a real estate investing group, one of the best partnerships that I could ask for. And I honestly believe if it wasn't for that partnership, I don't know that I would have been able to carry on by myself. I think that there would have been some stumbling blocks, and we kind of do that for each other. I would always advise a partnership of some sort if you can find somebody, because I think that there are ups and downs and there can be some real difficult times. And usually the other person is there to kind of levitate, help that experience for the person that's really suffering. So what was the vision? The first vision, we didn't really know. We were doing short-term rentals, rental arbitrage. So we were taking on long-term leases of modern apartments. It couldn't be more different. We were fully furnishing these places, and then we were short-term letting them out. That's how we got into the industry. We
Okay.
enjoyed it. We enjoyed it, but we knew within the first couple of years, our business plan was, well, then we're going to want to buy somewhere. Now, I'm based in California. It's an expensive situation. Um, and I had a friend who is from the Midwest. He's actually from Jacksonville, Illinois, which is 35 minutes out of Springfield, which is the capital of Illinois. And he sent me this property, this 8,000 square foot mansion that was on the market for $400,000. And when we first saw it, we're like, that's not happening. We both live in California, or actually Ben lives in Nashville. I live in California. We
Okay.
just that's not going to be. That's not going to be. And the more that we looked at this property, the more that we fell in love with it, the more that we could see that we could, as I've explained, it's hotel apartments. So that's how we got into it first, was to copy what we'd already done. We knew
Okay.
the apartment industry, we knew how it worked, we knew the kind of money that we could make. And we then looked into Springfield in a bigger way. Like, what's going on there? Why are people going? Who are the
Right.
people we're going to be renting to? Uh, is there a strong enough tourism industry there? Which there is, because Lincoln is from there, so it has its own inbuilt system going on.
Nice.
Um, and so the vision just started with, we love this property, this Victorian incredible property, uh, and we can see how we can make this into an experience for people, right? That's where I believe we're going now, and I think we've been going for quite some time, is experience trumps price a lot
Okay.
of the time.
It does. I
People
keep over and over, 100%.
people are looking for an experience, and they will part with more money a lot of the time for that experience. One of the bonuses about starting in what I think is a low barrier to entry was we could ask for a hotel room amount, let's say $150 a night. Well, you
Mhm.
can have six people stay for $150 a night.
You can.
And there's three beds, two bathrooms. We try and put king beds wherever we can, but the vision is to give the guest an experience that they've never had before. It's becoming, and so you asked about the expansion of it. The expansion is, many of these properties are in cities that may have been thriving at some point and maybe are on a downturn or are coming up. Um, and the vision now has expanded to, how can we continue to be a part of this community? How can we grow in the community? And how can we actually not just keep the building, not just maintain this beautiful building, but also maintain the community around it? So that's kind of where that vision has started to go, is this is more than just these buildings. They're the start, but they sit in the middle of downtowns where people want to revitalize, they want to revive the downtowns as well. And we look forward and want to be a part of that too.
Yeah. That's really nice. And catching that wave at the right time is really important. Quick question. Now, are you utilizing these for some apartment type rentals as well? Or are they just strictly a hotel rental? Or are you just letting people, I mean, if they need an apartment rental, are you letting them utilize that for an apartment rental as well?
And when you say that, you mean more of a longer term stay?
Longer term rental, yes.
It depends. Short term will always make us more money. So
Yeah.
we also have to look at you and I before we got on this. We're talking about seasonality, right? And in the Midwest, there's a real seasonality. It's
Yes,
it's
there
it's a
is.
time.
Yep.
So the thing when you venture into capital cities is that they have a whole, usually there's hospitals nearby, pretty good hospitals. People are
Yes.
coming into town for that. And then the other part is the legislators and lobbyists that are coming into town for a specific season. It's usually January through May, which is the most difficult time. And
Yes.
so we have long term. I guess it's more of a midterm lease, but we
Yep.
absolutely have come to a an agreement with the legislator and us about what a monthly rent would be on this particular thing, on this particular apartment, and then it has been leased to them for that amount of time.
That's
But
fantastic.
in the majority, it is short term, one night to 3 nights to a week in the majority of stays.
No, that's good. But accommodating those longer term rentals is a really great way to go. Like you said, especially during those winter months, because people don't always want a vacation in the Northeast, in the winter months when there's not ski slopes or what have you. So that's a great thing to be able to offer. And I know that it's a struggle if you want a short term apartment rental, you're not going to get one without
Right.
paying a premium price. So, and this has
Right.
everything you need in it. You've got a bed, you've got a kitchen, you're completely furnished. That's a fantastic opportunity to capitalize
We
on.
we think so too. We think that there's just in these houses as well, there is just that opportunity. There's many different opportunities. Just like I said to you, it isn't just one apartment. Like that house, the main house has three apartments in it, but it has 9 bedrooms. All of those apartments open up into one stairwell.
Yeah,
So you have this experience. Like, so now I've got 5 listings, right? Because I've got the three in the main house, I've got one carriage house. I've
right.
actually got six. You can have the whole house, or you can have the whole compound, which is the carriage house included as well. So
Absolutely.
the
That's amazing.
opportunity to offer 3 beds, 2 beds, 9 beds, 11 beds, like there's just there's real growth potential, and there's just so many options that are open to people for what they need in this one property.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's just a fantastic opportunity for you. I love it. James, what is the biggest strategic challenge that you are focused on solving for Revitalist hotels over the next 12 to 18 months?
Um, Good question. I think one of the situations for us, financing, it's moving from our company that has been able to finance what we've been able to finance so far, which is 3 properties. We're 6 years old. That's not too bad, and it's growing in the value that we're buying. So that's good. But if we want to expand, we need to find other financing. We need investors. We need to discover what that is, how we would put an investment pool together, and then search for these properties. I mean, Ben and I know our next two. We're already there with it. And so then it is about that's one of the strategic issues. I think also, as we do this, there is a standard that we want the guest to have, and there's
Yeah,
a standard that the property needs to be. And it's about how do we scale without losing the soul of the property
right.
and the standard that we're offering.
Yeah, because that's the soul of the property is very important to you. So, I mean, is your next step is adding more partners, or are you just going to go out and seek capital? What are your thoughts on that?
It's a great question. It's also one that Ben is better at. I think we're we're going to go out and we're going to look for capital is the way that it's going to go. We're not close to partners at all. Um, I think that's and the difference though is the partner has to understand and be passionate about this specific adaptive reuse. It just is like you have to. love property. You have to love historical property. Um, you have to accept that sometimes things take longer than you thought that they were going to take.
Absolutely.
Um, and so I think that where we search capital and maybe we're saying, okay, here's a return on that capital is maybe an easier avenue. To be truthful, I don't know yet, and I'm sure we'll learn. We'll probably do both and discover. Um, but that's kind of where we are, and just like you were saying, and I've said, each property has its own story.
Yeah.
The one in that mansion in Springfield, did Lincoln step inside? Didn't he? Possibly not. But
Hmm.
but the person who built it, I know, laid the bricks outside Lincoln's home. That was his first job when he first came to Springfield, and he became this very wealthy merchant. What an
Okay.
incredible story.
Really?
We
That's
moved to
fantastic.
Little Rock, where prohibition was huge, and
Yes.
there's little signs of that all over. There's a secret cubby over the fireplace that would hold the alcohol, right? Would hold a bottle of whiskey or
Mhm.
whatever. If you go into the turret on the third floor, there's only one entry into, and it's called the poker room. You've got this line of it's all small squares, stained glass window,
Yes.
except for two panes that are clear so that when they were up there, they could see out properly and see if any police were in the area so that they
Okay.
could protect themselves from prohibition.
That's fantastic.
How do you, though, keep those stories alive, which are so important to the experience of the property, while
Yes.
you expand? You cannot lose any of that. That's people want it, they want to see it, they want to feel it, they want to know that's what happened. And that's a strategic challenge. It really
It
is.
is. That's the character of that property, and you can't lose that.
Right. Exactly.
100%. I love that. That's amazing. Um, James, in the boutique hotel space, what specific operational or market entry bottlenecks are currently preventing you from scaling to new locations or expanding your unit count faster? And you may have just kind of touched on that one, so we can maybe skip over that one unless you have a different answer that maybe
I
addresses the question.
I think a bottleneck that's come up for us a couple of times is that cities may not be catching up with adaptive reuse as quickly as they could. So
Okay.
there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of there's just a lot of red tape, and
Okay.
so uh, that is one bottleneck that I see. It's one that we've experienced a couple of times,
Okay.
um, and you kind of have to live with it. It is a bottleneck of the city. If you don't want to deal with it, then probably don't do it. That's the kind of deal you have to go through the process. We made an error in the first property. We took bad advice, and we are still dealing with that error now. We're still dealing with the city and that error now, and we're talking about 4 years later.
Oh, 4 years later. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
That's a little cruel, isn't it?
Look, I can take responsibility. I can see when we didn't do things the way that a city wanted us to do it. It's not about what we've done within the property. It's about not asking for permission.
Okay.
I understand.
Yes.
I will say that the way that it's been handled has been difficult.
Okay. Well, and like you said, you'll improve upon that next time, won't you?
That's right. Oh yeah, we won't do that again.
Okay. And we're gonna move on from that.
You're- Sounds
Beyond,
good.
I can tell. Beyond occupancy rates, what are the 2 to 3 most critical metrics you use to monitor weekly to ensure the health and growth of the Revivalist brand?
Uh, I mean, I think reviews are extremely important.
Mhm. Yes.
They just are. That's just such a huge part of our industry and many industries now. It's all based on what's this review like? What's the comment like?
Yes.
So again, we're moving into what's the guest sentiment and what's the story experience that they had. That's is it in alignment? Are they saying the things that we hope that they're saying? Because that's the effort that we put in. And in these properties, the majority of the time that they are.
Good.
I think he was talking about weekly. I think looking at sort of we were slow to social media and
Okay.
looking at what the response is to that, who's
Mhm.
interested, um, where we're reaching, what kind of retention we have, kind of conversion there is out of that. It's difficult with social media and, booking a hotel, like, unless you're talking to somebody who's coming to Springfield specifically,
Mm.
that doesn't necessarily end in a conversion. But if you can get somebody who's a fan, that can end in a conversion further down the line. So I think um, sentiment is number one. What are the reviews? How are they reviewing? Why did they review that way? And that goes across like how are we communicating with the guests? What was their experience when they first walked in? Did they have a frictionless experience? Do they love what it was like once they were in there? Comfort of beds.
Mm.
Super. I know that that's super. What's the word? Subjective because you can get somebody who walks in and is like, "This is the most comfortable bed I've ever slept in. I want
Yes.
the I want the link to the mattress, the
Oh,
pillows, the everything."
where it came
And you
from.
can have
Yep.
somebody else who walks in and they're like, "That was the most uncomfortable bed I've ever slept in. I never want to see this again."
No, I dealt with that in my years of operating hotels as well. People would love the, I mean, 99.9% of the people would love the beds, and then you get one person who absolutely hated it, wanted to have their whole stay for free, and you're just you're blindsided by it. You
Yep.
can't, you're like, what is happening right now?
And I think you bring up a really important point is we also have to learn how to weight those things, right?
Yeah,
What's the majority sentiment in this instance? Because
exactly.
if 95% of the sentiment is 5 stars
Mhm.
and we start to look, it's important to look at like, why do we get three there? What was it?
Right.
I need to know. And if there's feedback to be given, then there's feedback to be given to whoever deserves that feedback.
Exactly.
Sometimes, though, it's just a subjective point of view. They
Mhm.
did not like it.
And it's
And
okay
it is okay. It has to be okay. And it also has to not be taken too seriously,
personally,
right?
especially when you care about what you're doing so much and put your heart and soul into it.
It can be really difficult.
Very
It can be
difficult.
really difficult. Yeah.
100%. So, yep, it's people can be very, very tough. So, James, if money and time were no object, what single aspect of the guest experience or internal operations would you overhaul immediately and why?
Oh. Hmm. So this is something we've been talking about recently. One of the things is a really strong, uh, what's the word? A really strong tech. I guess it's a part of the stack that would really look after maintenance issues.
Ah,
If you don't have that, and there was a long time where we would drop the ball. Um, there's just so many that can come up. You can have them, and then is Ben dealing with that one? I'm dealing. This is a while ago before we were kind of out of the operation side of things, but
okay.
still, if one of our VAs starts the process and doesn't pass it off, like great, that's not going to work. But the problem is currently we don't have a logging in and logging out system. We've actually been talking to a company recently who are right in the beginnings of their world, and they were talking to us about what is it that you need. And we have the cleaning stack, we have the PMS, we have the financials, the pricing stack. It's all in there. There's just that one point that I think.
Yeah.
And the other thing I know Ben is super passionate about this would be a tech layer for storytelling about them. we've spoken about lots of different options, like maybe it's a TV in their room, and when they switch it on, they get they get to know about the building. Or
Yeah.
is it an old school telephone that they can pick up and find out, like a
Yeah.
recording?
Nice.
It all beautiful.
Yeah.
Some kind of storytelling that goes with the property.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. At the moment, it would be very individual. It would be a phone, it would be a recording, it would be something like that. But I think that would be interesting, would be some kind of,
There.
yeah, and that's not just, look, I know we're all digital. I know we
Very.
all accept that, but there is something about tactility that just cannot be beaten. It just cannot be beaten. When I pick up a phone and there is a recorded message about when this building was built, or I see the the story on a screen, that is different to a digital PDF of here's the story of this building.
And it suits the time frame better too.
Completely. There's another part of the guest
Yeah.
experience, right? It's where we
Yeah.
haven't just finished it with you have beautiful furnishings, you have a kitchen, you have a bathroom, all done within the model, but you also get this storytelling experience, which, yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean,
One.
it would be really cool.
It would be super cool. So, and maintenance is really difficult. It's really hard to find somebody that's super reliable and super knowledgeable that can, just be that all around person. I always struggled with that. I had two older gentlemen for three of my properties, and they were amazing, like 100% amazing. I never had to worry about anything. So,
And it's probably a question you have coming up, but we don't stay in one area. That's not our goal. Our goal is to do what we can in one area and then find something in, because there's only so many of these properties that you can do this in, and there's only so much of a market that you can take. So in each market, you then have to build your team.
yes, you do.
Now in Springfield, we have an incredible contractor who also works in the situation you're talking about. I have
Nice.
an incredible, I guess he's a handyman, but he does the gardens for us. They're so beautiful. He does such a wonderful job, and he will look at some of those things that come up and be like, I can deal with it, or Jen, our contractor, will have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So we also have somebody, who's doing quality control and stocking and keeping it stocked.
Right.
But you have to find that for every
Yeah.
place. You have to find enough cleaning
Yes.
crew who care.
Yeah, absolutely.
They,
Especially if you're not there and you're not on site to watch over everybody.
it's tough, and we have some really wonderful members of the team. But again, stating this apartment needs to be how you would want it if your mother walked in.
100%.
Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but one has to, there's a three strike rule, like you can't keep working and doing half the job,
No, and you'll know immediately because the guest reviews will tell you.
which is terrifying, right?
100%.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. Oh, moving on to customer acquisition, James. How does Revitalist Hotels approach customer acquisition differently than a larger, more established hotel chain? And where are you seeing the highest ROI on your market spend?
I think another great question. You're really good ones. And I think you're seeing this change for the bigger hotel chains as well. But as I've been saying, stories instead of price is a
Hmm.
huge deal. And
It
you're
really,
starting to see it with, you know, uh, Destination Hilton or whatever. Those are the adverts now, right? The story
yes,
isn't, we've got a cheap price for you. The story is, come and stay in this destination and have an experience, be able to tell a story afterwards.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think that's still a huge difference. I travel across the country. I drive it. I've done LA to Illinois 5 times there and back. I have just done LA to Nashville. Um, and of course, as you're driving across, I'll hit Priceline, I'll hit a hotel, and it's about the price.
Right.
But when it comes to properties like this, and I think we said it, I said it to you earlier, there is the ability to ask for a higher price because of the story that you're telling
Yeah.
and the experience that you're giving somebody.
Absolutely. And they're coming into town for a reason. They're coming in to see family. They're coming in for, to see history. They're coming in for the experience of that. They're not coming in, they're not stopping on the way, they just need a quick
But
hotel for the night. So it's a
that's
whole
exact
ball game.
that's exactly right. And particularly in somewhere like Springfield where you've got the Lincoln story,
Yes.
the idea that I, the guest, am now staying in in a house that was of Lincoln's era and with furniture that was of Lincoln's era, but with modern amenities. I don't know if you can beat that. If you're into history, I don't know that you
No,
can beat that.
no.
Um,
I mean, it's right there. Having the man who laid bricks there that, laid bricks on Lincoln's house. That's right up there with experience.
it's I think it is, and one of the other things that we're going to move into is this. There's a transparency there too, like a transparency in us telling the story of how we got to it being an office building
Hmm. Absolutely.
to a hotel.
Yeah.
And we, we were so new to it when we first started that we didn't. There's photos, obviously, there's some video, but there's very little. I was just literally there every day for 7 months getting this place ready with contractors. That's it. That's what I did.
Oh,
As we do this more and more, the idea is take a look at what you can do. This doesn't just have to be our story.
no, it doesn't.
You can watch this, you can see how something transforms. We all love a transformation story. We all love to see what it looked like and what it's going to look like. And I think that's exciting for customer acquisition too, is I get
Absolutely.
to I get to see how they do it, and then I get to go and stay there.
Right.
I I don't know anyone that's doing that, and I think it makes a good television show. I think it would be excellent for that. And it's something that we can see further down the line that, like, you can make something really cool. Not only are we then restoring the properties, giving access to the town, we're also suggesting to people this is something that you can do yourself. This is a way that you can retire and make enough money to live without having to do your 9 to 5. I'm not saying it's not hard work. Let's not pretend that that's the case.
Of course not.
But if you're into this, if you like the look of this, we can show you how to do it. And that brings me joy as well, is like freeing people from day to day, perhaps people who think that there are no other options.
Absolutely. And that itself is is such a huge, that's a service to other people. Getting
We hope
people
so.
today is a huge service. It really is. Many people are just really stuck in doing what they're doing. And it's really sad. But as as for your guests too, will come in there and look at this story, and they're gonna spread it around to everybody that they know. They truly will.
Yeah, and I think something that's interesting is just to look at how bookings change through the time. We started in, I guess, properly renting out in 2022. In the beginning of July of 2022 was when the whole first house was ready. And the direct booking change that's happened in that time is very, very interesting. And it is a word of mouth thing because how else is it? Like, you've got to come to our website, right? You've got to get drawn there. I'm not saying that people can't search. People do search. They're coming to Springfield and we come up as an option. But to see the increase in direct bookings rather than the platforms that we're used to is a kind of testimony to, yes, this is working. People are having a wonderful time and they are telling other people about it.
That's fantastic, and that's what you want. You want the direct bookings. You want the word of mouth. I mean, that's that you're winning 100% there, aren't you?
I think so, and just understanding, walking into a store in Springfield and saying, "Do you know what? Do you know the Bresma?" That's one of our places. For
Uh-huh.
somebody to turn around and say no is painful, right? That is not the answer,
No, it's not,
and
especially
that's
in
not the answer we want anyway. And so those are lessons. We've done it. We've been in there. We've asked, and people are like, "Oh no, I mean, I know the building, but I didn't know what was going on there." So, it's about where are we going? How are we getting into the community? Are we talking to them? How do
absolutely.
we talk to them? Are we collaborating with them? Do people want to collaborate with us? Can we
Right.
do breakfast with this place? That's also awesome. Like, I don't know. Or can we give them a 10% discount on this place? Or they can suggest people to us and we'll give them a 10% discount, etc., etc. All of this, I really think that we all work better when we work together rather than working against each other.
And those are the people in town that when their families come into town, they don't want them to stay with them. They want them to come stay at your place.
Right. Right.
And
And you literally couldn't have a better place to stay for your
no,
family.
you couldn't.
That's my personal opinion.
And when they're all staying in the big house, it's hotels are great to stay in, but at the end of the night, you all have to go to your separate rooms, close your doors. When they're in your house, they can all collaborate all night long. It's a
Yep.
different feel. It's a different space.
Correct.
More like a family space than a hotel is. So it's a much more comfortable, family like area to stay. And for if everybody in in that town in Springfield would have their families stay there, you could literally be full all the time.
And you bring up a really important point. One of the things that Ben, and one of our goals is we are the go-to place to stay. And that's a
Absolutely.
that's a lot that's a lofty goal right there, right? That is a lofty goal, and
It,
yet it is our goal.
I think it's completely feasible. It's not like you have 200 rooms to fill.
Correct. Correct. And that's exactly right. I don't have anything to add to it. I was thinking I did, but I don't. It's just that is an important part. There are plenty of people coming into town every single day to fill those places. And
Absolutely.
so why aren't they full is the question that we ask ourselves.
And it's just getting the word out there. That's all.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
So, James, I have two more questions for you. One
sure.
is, what is the single biggest disruption you see coming to the hospitality industry within the next 5 years? And how is Revivalist preparing for it?
I mean, I'm sure you get this all the time, but AI is going to be a huge disruption to the hospitality space. Um, we're using it. We're using it. It's just I think it's so important that it's an enhancement of the experience and it does not take away from the humanity of the experience. That's what our whole thing is about. This was built by humans with ideas and thoughts and dreams.
Yeah,
And we want you to have that experience as you walk through the process of I like the look of this place. Actually, I want to stay here. I've now booked. What's the communication like? And that's where I believe you're going to see a lot of the AI influences in the communication. And it is going to disrupt it. Um, but it's about how you use it,
mhm,
how we make sure that the AI understands the humanity of the situation, that there is still somebody at the end of the phone when needed. Like that
absolutely.
that cannot be taken. You cannot take that away from an experience that somebody has. How quickly do we fix a situation? AI can do amazing things. It can probably solve my which issue was it about maintenance? It can probably solve that maintenance issue like that. I'm pretty sure it can. I'm pretty sure there's somebody who's built something that would do this, send a text,
Yeah,
uh, make a call, make an AI call to the person that I need, organize the whole maintenance experience.
of course.
Great. But the truth is, we still need the humanity behind it. We still need to make sure it happens within a certain amount of time. We
Mhm.
still need to make sure that the guest is heard, listened to, feels heard. And that is, I think, the disruptive issue perhaps that AI could cause is this feeling like, well, they don't have to bother about me anymore, which is not the truth.
Well,
Um,
it's taking out it's the hospitality part about it. We need to
it,
keep
it
hospitality in hospitality.
I think you're exactly right. And so there comes the split between general questions that people ask on a daily basis that AI can take hold of.
Mhm.
And probably there's many of them, as long as you fill the system with all of your experience and all of your property knowledge, you can get a very good answer and not need anything more than that.
Of
It's
course.
when it's when there is that hospitality part, like I would like a bottle of champagne organized for this person, or I would like this done. There's a problem with this. That is where the humanity has to stay. That's where we have to continue to keep experience. Because if we're talking about experience, part of the experience that's important is frictionlessness. And I think that AI can really help with that.
Yeah.
But the other part of the experience is the human experience of it. So
Yeah.
there's got to be this balance of the two
100%.
as we move it forward.
Yeah. It's an excellent tool. It can really help us solve a lot of problems. It can help us it can help us save time. But like you said, we need the humanity part. We always need that when we're dealing with other humans.
I think the scary part, scary. I no, I believe in connection. I believe that people need connection. They need connection with other humans.
Yeah.
And we're moving further and further away from that. So
Yeah.
whenever we can give it, we need to give it.
Absolutely. I agree
Yeah.
with you 100%. It's invaluable. So, James, my final question is, what would you like our audience to know about Revivalist Hotels and where can we find you online?
Perfect. Let's start with online. www.revivalisthotels.com.
Perfect.
Um, what would I like you to know? I mean, I've said a lot, but I think what I would really like is people to know that the intention behind this is to find a new use for beautiful buildings that in general terms would be counted too expensive
Mm.
to maintain. And that we are trying to keep the story alive of these incredible properties that have 150 years worth of story to be told. Um, and that, you know, that this kind of idea of adaptive reuse, the idea of preservation is not about freezing the time. It's
Yeah.
about reviving it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we got to our name is, it really is a revival of these places. We hope a revival of the community. And also, I mean, when we go to a hotel, I want you to feel revived. I want you as my guest to feel revived by your stay and your experience.
100%.
So
Perfect
the
name.
truth, the truth is, Revivalist Hotels comes from that. Um, and that, by staying with us, you also become a part of the story of that place.
Mhm. Yeah. That's just fantastic, James.
Thank you.
I mean, it really is. I love what you're doing with these homes, turning them into hotels, turning them into stories, turning people's vacations into just an ultimate experience, and also showing these communities what you can do with these homes that, like you said, might be overlooked for whatever one reason or another.
Mm.
The fact that they might think that these are just too expensive um, to revive, and then taking it one step further and showing people that you can do this for a living. I mean, it's truly amazing.
Well, thank you. That's our next. You know, you said it before about what's your vision, and that's that's the end. That's not the end vision, but it's a big part of the vision that we have. It is not just about these buildings. It cannot just be about these buildings.
Mhm.
We're an ecosystem. As soon as we get into a city or a town, and we have to partake in that ecosystem, and maybe help other people to do it in their small town.
Yeah.
There's so much room for this.
Yeah, there are, and I mean, there's Victorian homes all over the United States that are just, sitting there ready and waiting to be, refurbished and lived in and loved again. And they can just be so lucky that you choose them. So I'm just,
Well,
I'm
thank you.
so this has just been a true pleasure to speak with you tonight, James. And I'm just so grateful that you were willing to come on the podcast. I'm truly honored.
We appreciate being asked. I really do, and you asked some really very cool questions. So, what a great podcast to do.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much, Nikki.
Thank you, James.